If you're wondering to yourself, is Bruno Mars' Treasure song actually in this film? I hate to disappoint, but it's not. And even worse, the movie is called Treasure, and the treasure, it's pretty lame. In Poland, 1990, American music journalist Ruth takes her father, a Holocaust survivor, on a journey to his childhood haunts, hoping to make sense of her family's troubled past. The film stars Lena Dunham and Stephen Fry and was directed by Julia von Heinz, and I've never seen any of her previous works. I saw the trailer for this film one time, and the way that I perceived the trailer was it seemed like a drama with a bit of comedy, though I didn't think it was going to be one of those laugh out loud kind of comedy type films. Now this film, it starts off with a daughter and father. We see them at an airport, and we don't really know exactly who they are exactly right during that time, but we finally figure out that this is her father, and they're going on this adventure out in Poland to different cities to really understand the heritage and their culture, and then the fact that the father has to go back into his old towns that he had to actually go through during when the Germans actually invaded in World War II, and it goes into the concentration camps out in Auschwitz, which was a powerful scene in this film. There is some emotional type takes in this film that I think do hit in certain points of the film. The cinematography is done rather well. Different shots of like the rubble and just how the city is and how it's kind of in shambles in certain aspects, and just kind of like the older type buildings. It is a dimly light film in which it does kind of represent the depressing nature of revisiting these past hauntings that this father has to come across again. It's based on the novel Too Many Men, and I'm not sure how that really translates from book to screen here. I don't think the performances were bad. I do think that the father here and daughter, they're very limited by the script of this movie. I think from a perspective of actually knowing these characters, we do actually learn from the daughter that she had a really bad marriage, she has an eating disorder, and she also self-harms herself, and we do learn that their mother passed away, so they do share that depression of losing their mother throughout this film, in which, they're really struggling with that. I don't think this film, though, it has many stakes. There is a few that does come up in the film, but they're resolved really quickly. Like, for instance, there is a part where they actually visit the father's old childhood home, and obviously somebody's living there, and they find out that they have some items from their past, in which they have some glassware, a jacket, a few other things, but the father just completely dismisses this. He has no part of wanting to actually have these items, and what does the daughter actually do? She goes back there and she pays overpriced to bid for these items, in which this family, obviously, they seem like they're really poor and they don't have a lot of money and they're struggling on the rent. I'm not sure that situation there, but it feels like this family is just taking advantage of them, and she has to have a translator because she doesn't understand Polish whatsoever, so she has to hire a translator to come there and actually bid for her to get these items. That portion of the daughter's character just really annoyed me because there's a lot of times where she's just disobeying, not listening, very stubborn, and that really made me think about her marriage. She didn't want kids, but I also felt like she was someone that necessarily probably didn't want to be tied down, but she also had her own internal issues as well. So I think like her jiving back and forth with her father here, and the fact that they're both stubborn people, it's really hard to really care about either character here. Now, the tone of this film, to me, it felt rather off because there are points in this film where they have some comedy in which it lands, and it's like a mild chuckle. It's not like laugh out loud type humor. There's other points where it doesn't land, and then there's other points where they're mixing in the drama and they're trying to create a more serious tone. And I was like, I just don't really think that it really does work, because there's a lot of other films that really focus on the subject of the war and the after effects and Holocaust survivors. I think that it's done a lot better in a more serious fashion. And this, I don't really think it really ever finds its footing with that. And I think that also goes to the music as well, because the music here is very dull. A lot of times there's not a lot of music, and when there is music, it's very like soft piano-like, and it's just kind of meandering and sprinkled throughout the film. I also had questions too, because like the daughter here, she is a journalist. Now, is she someone that is just beginning out in this field? field? Is she someone that is a successful journalist? Is she trying to do a story on the fact that her father is a Holocaust survivor and she's going to Poland to actually discover this place and maybe do a story on it? I mean, I'm not really sure because it never really is clear as to why this trip is so important for her. Maybe the bonding of being with her father, maybe that's really important to her, but just never really felt like we really got the answers to that. And the whole point of this film being called Treasure, now they do actually find treasure later on in the film of the final act, but again, it gets resolved really quickly and it's really not that exciting, in which the ending of this film, I feel, is a very safe ending. When it comes down to it, not a lot really stood out to me, especially the subject matter here. There was not one thing that really was focused on enough to where I was just very interested to keep knowing about what was going to happen here. I just felt like they really did miss the mark in the tension and the drama aspect, and there was too many things where when there was a drama moment, it just was solved way too quickly, and I think they should have just fleshed out the story a little bit more and maybe had a little bit more purpose, because to me there just wasn't enough purpose here to where this film, it really just makes you want to go back and rewatch it again. So as far as a score for me, I would give it a 2 out of 5. Unfortunately, it was just a meh film that really didn't really move me whatsoever, and I can't really say that I would say to rush to watch this. It's not a horrible film or unwatchable, but I do feel like many people, they will not go to watch this film, and maybe they may discover it on streaming, but I just don't feel like it's something you have to rush to watch. Definitely put it on the bottom of your list, or maybe if you've run out of things to watch, maybe you check this film out. What did you guys think about Treasure? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And if you are not going to check it out in theaters, are you going to check it out on streaming or VOD, or are you going to skip it altogether? Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.